Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra Unit 7.5 Notes, Day 1, Video 2. Now, we've already gone through this whole front page, so if you still need help with it, watch the first video. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I showed you how to do either distribution or the box method, and you can use either one that you want to, okay? I'm going to show you how to do a couple, I'm going to go through both of them in a couple of these, okay? So first thing we always want to do is check to see if there's a GCF. And then example number 3, there's no GCF. I know that that's a 1, that's our A. Our B, is also a 1, and our C is a -6. So what we want to do is we're going to multiply those two numbers. 1 times 6 is 6, and I'm not using the negative yet, and I'll show you why in a second. Okay? So the factors of 6 are 1 and 6, and 2 and 3. Now we're going to worry about the negative. So what two numbers multiply to get to -6, but add up to get to +1? What do you guys think? Well, it sure isn't 1 and 6, because 1 plus 6 is 7. So I know it's going to be some combination of 2 and 3. So to multiply to get to a negative, one of my numbers has to be negative. Okay, so let's try with the -3. Well, 2 times -3 is -6. But what's 2 plus -3? -1, so that doesn't work. But what about -2? -2 times 3 is -6. And then -2 plus 3 is 1. For this to work, these have to be the same numbers both times. Okay? You can't just be like, oh, well, this works. Well, technically that doesn't work. But you could be like, well, this works. They can't be different. Okay? It has to be the same exact numbers when we're splitting the middle term. Okay? So the next part is we start writing it down. We have w squared minus 2w plus 3w minus 6. Okay, so now what we do is we draw the line down and we have our two parts. So looking at the blue, what's the GCF of the blue? Well, I can take out a w. So the w comes out front. W squared divided by w is w. 2 divided by w, or 2w divided by w is -2. And now on the back, the GCF of 3w and -6 is 3, and it's a +3. The reason why I focus that it's a +3 is we're going to need that in just a second. Okay, 3 divided by 3, we're just left with a w, and -6 divided by +2 is -2. So w minus 2, w minus 2, those go together. And then a +3 in w, so w plus 3. So this is our final answer, okay? And this is the same as w minus 2, w plus 3, okay? It doesn't matter which order you put them in, okay? All right, let's do the box for 4. okay? Remember that that's a 1. If you don't have to put that 1 there, guys, if you don't need to, okay? So 1 times 20 is 20. We did the factors of 20 on the other side, 1 and 20, 2 and 10, I almost forgot that one, and 4 and 5. So we're looking for numbers that multiply to get to negative 20 and add to give us a positive 8. Okay? So which one do you think it is? Remember, one of our numbers has to be negative. The only way to get an 8 through these is through 2 and 10. So is it negative 10? Well, that works here, but 2 plus negative 10 is a negative 8, so nope. Negative 2. Negative 2 times 10 is negative 20, and negative 2 plus 10 is a positive 8, okay? So when you split the middle term, you get c squared minus 2c plus 10c minus 20. And now we do the box method. So we got, oops, c squared minus 2c plus 10c minus 20. So when we're doing the box method, we go top to bottom, and we take out the GCF. C squared and 10c, the most I can take out is a c. Now what about negative 2 and negative 20? Well, if we can take out a negative, we always want to take out a negative. And then the biggest we can take out is negative 2c. Now let's go through left to right. The biggest I can take out is a c. And now the bottom. 10c and minus 20, the biggest I can take out is a positive 10. So these are our two binomials. We got the c plus 10 and the c minus 2. And you can put them in whatever order you want to. That part doesn't matter. Okay? Now, if you wanted to see if you got the right answer, we could do this to any of them. We could just distribute or do the box method and see what we get. We should come back and get the c squared plus 8c minus 20 if you got it right. All right, number 5. Why don't you guys pause the video and see if you can come up with step number 2, 1 and 2. So see if there's a GCF and then see if what the factors are. Okay, good luck. Okay, so that should have been the first step. Now, how many of you guys use 2 and 12? Because 2 times 12 does give you 24, and then 2 times plus negative 12 gives you negative 10. Yay, I did it right. Or did I? Remember that those have to be 100% exactly the same, and I'm sorry, they're not. So that was the wrong combination. The correct combination is 4 and 6. But how's that work? Okay, now 4 times 6 is 24. But 4 plus 6 isn't negative 10. Negative 4 plus negative 6 is 10. But guess what? Negative 4 and negative 6 also multiply to get to a positive. Okay? You have to pay very close attention to all of the signs when you're doing this, guys. Okay? So let's go ahead and rewrite this. We get the y squared minus 4y minus 6y plus 24. Okay, let's go ahead and split the middle term. The GCF of the gray and the GCF of the green. So in the gray, we can take out a y. So the y comes out front, and we're left with y minus 4. Now, what's the GCF of the green? Now, it's not just 6 because our leading coefficient is negative, so it has to be a negative 6. And then we get y minus 4. Because remember, y minus 4 and y minus 4, that's your check to see if you did it right. Okay, and then what's left over? Your y minus 6. That turns into your other binomial. So we're left with y minus 6 times y minus 4. And remember, it could be y minus 4 times y minus 6. It doesn't matter. All right, number 6. Once again, let's see if you can do that first part all by yourself. Go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, so you're looking for numbers that multiply to get to 15 and add up to get to negative 8. We should be using 3 times 5, and it's got to be a negative 3 and a negative 5 to make both statements true. Okay? So when we split the middle term, we get n squared minus 3n minus 5n plus 15. And once again, I'm going to use the box method to do this one. If you don't like the box method, do the split the middle term like we were doing in the previous one. You don't have to do the same method I do. I just want to make sure everybody has a chance to try one that they like. Okay? So, from top to bottom, what's the GCF of n squared and negative 5n? We get an n. The GCF of negative 3n and positive 15. Remember, your leading coefficient is negative, so that has to be a negative 3. Okay. The GCF of the top is just an n. And then the GCF of the bottom, our leading coefficient is negative, so that means that that 5 is negative. Okay, so when we're all done, we have our two binomials of n minus 5 and n minus 3. All right, let's do 7 all together one more time. Let's see how far you guys can get on your own. Go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, so we're looking for two numbers that multiply to get to negative 18 or negative 16 and add up to get to negative 6. The only combination was 2 and 8, and it was 2 and negative 8. So when you factor all that out, you get x minus 8 and x plus 2. Or you could have written that, remember, it's the same as x plus 2, x minus 8. It's the same thing, it doesn't matter. Okay? Okay, why don't you guys go ahead and pause the video and try 8. Okay, I am not going to show all my work right here, but when you guys are done, you should have gotten n plus 1 and n minus 6. So the last ones we're going to talk about are the bottom ones. So we've got our A, B, C. Multiply, and we get 49. The factors of 49 are 1 and 49 and 7 and 7. So which set of those add up to give us 49, or multiply to get to 49 and add to get to 13? Sure isn't 1 and 49, but what about 7 and 7? Nope, it doesn't work. So this one can't be factored. Now, you just can't sit there and write can't be factored without showing your work. You need to show work to prove it, okay? Like, let's look at this bottom one. So when we multiply 1 times 14 and get 1 and 14, 2 and 7, and try to find numbers that multiply to get to negative 14 and add to get to negative 9. Well, negative 2 and negative 7 work here, but negative 2 and negative 7 do not work there. So even if you try to figure it out, well, what about if it's just like that? Well, then it works for the top, but then it doesn't work for the bottom. Okay? So once again, this can't be factored. Okay? You have to pay very close attention to these. Now, I know that today was kind of difficult, so if you have any questions, please come find Miss Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Your homework is below the 7.5 practice. Okay? All right, guys. It's Mr. Grice signing off. Thanks for watching.